Hello and welcome to Celtic Rumours TV, the Bawz and Bovril podcast with your host Mark and myself Paul. Join us on this transfer deadline day special. We have John, United Ireland from the forum. Our form to the podcast is celticrumours.co.uk, where Celtic supporters discuss everything about Celtic. And I suppose our form page there has been non-stop, and our editor Mark has been on the go already this morning posting rumours and gossip around the forum. Mark, have you?
You know me, Paul. I've been up for the crack of dawn. I love the transfer window, and this is the pinnacle of my year into transfer deadline day.
Yeah, kind of. I feel like Sky Sports. We're sitting down, we're on the mics, we're watching the things, Mark. We're watching the transfers coming through, aren't we?
I don't
You
even
know.
watch Sky Sports, Paul. See that Sky Sports News? I don't watch that. See, years ago, who was it? Oh, the Dutch guy going to Man United, Wesley Sneijder.
Mhm.
But Man United, they were pitching that all day, and then they came up and they said it was about 12:30 or something like that. They said massive news coming up with Wesley Sneijder's reported move to Manchester United. About 3 hours later, they still hadn't mentioned it, and that's when I sussed out, man. I was like, nah, that's just a racket. All that transfer stuff they do. That's to help their betting wing. They give you odds on the chances of a player joining a club so that you'll go and use their Sky Sports betting to bet that.
Mhm.
Just a complete racket. But anyway, that's my rant out about that.
John with us, is he?
He's not there yet. I'll just go and get him.
I suppose, Mark. It's been quiet so far at Celtic, hasn't it? We kind of expect us to be kind of a bit busier today, didn't we?
I thought there'd have been more. Even I thought the Gio Kamakis deal. I thought that would have been like formally announced, and the Scales deal and things like that. But
And Scales is done.
is that done?
Yeah, Scales is done. Yeah,
Done?
that was done. It kind of didn't really come out like, because I was looking at the squad list there now, and Scales is actually in the league squad now. Liam Scales is actually in the Celtic squad.
Right, I never seen any official announcement of that.
No, it didn't die now.
You there, John?
It's my own boys. Thanks for having us.
Hey,
Could
bother.
be
Thanks for coming on.
a wee exciting night to be on in it. Transfer
Uh,
deadline day.
I hear that.
the, the
I hear the
the curse of the podcast.
caught you.
What would you say there, mate?
I hear the curse of the podcast caught you as well. You done your back in at work the other day.
No, I was at work. It was at the gym on Sunday morning. So I went down to put a weight back, and my back just all went. I couldn't store up or nothing. It's ruined my Sunday. I just had to get back to my bed.
That's what happens when you go to gyms. But just do a few quick shout outs to do, Paul. Well, and, obviously the usual guys, Richie, AGG, Tim Alloy, Ben, and Mal, Bobby. I see Bobby's on the live chat there. Hope he's keeping better as well, and especially especially to Mikey. Mikey's really not too good with this COVID, man. It's a shame, it really is, and it doesn't seem to actually be getting any better with it. It's just a bit. Well, I think he's a bit worried about it, but hopefully he picks up in the next couple of days and he doesn't end up having to get into hospital. So get well soon, all the lads that need it, and especially you, Mikey, mate. Come on, we've got your back on this.
Moving on, Henry Cosgrave says in the live chat that Giamakis has been tweeting from the Celtic FC site, Mark. So I think that deal is done. Uh,
Stuff.
Still not on yacht at the moment, but I think he was having a medical kind of late last night, Mark. So there's still kind of paperwork to be done there. So look, the transfer window so far, we brought in
Like
Hart.
your deal with Giacomakis too. That's
Just got him his Twitter feed there. 5-year deal. So
And that's good. Like, look,
players.
we're investing in players, Mark. That if they are any good, like, we can get serious money from. Do you know what I mean? You know, like 2-3 years, Mark. If they're doing well, like they still have 2 years in their contract, we could still be expecting 20 million for players. Then, like, not leaving them go for pittance again. Like,
aye. That's another. We said that with even like a bad in that coming in. It's good to have them on long term contracts. If they're successful, as we just obviously we want them to stay as long as they can be here. I mean,
Mhm.
no, we're going to get top dollar for them.
I suppose. Look at who we did bring in so far this transfer. We brought in Hart, Starfelt, Kyogo, Abada, James McCarthy, Liam Scales is now done. Yorahidi, Jovanovic, Liam Scales, the Greek lad, that's done. We're expecting Yotta to be done. But, John, when you're looking at the game on Sunday and you look at the bench, like, we're still very short in numbers, aren't we?
It's just when you're looking at the bench, I kind of think, what do you do here? There's kind of nothing there that's going to come on and give that oomph and kind of go and grab a game of the scuff and kind of get us up the park, get a goal and stuff. It's a lightweight for options on the bench, but overall in the first 11, we've got quality there. We do need that couple of players in to kind of help the bench get stronger, but I'm confident in going forward. I'd like, obviously the two new boys that's come in, probably Jota and obviously the striker just signed. I'd like to see a centre back coming in. So I'm hoping we get in them.
There was talks as well today that Celtic approached St Johnstone, Mark, but St Johnstone quoted Celtic £3 million for Ali McCann. Is this another John McGinn scenario that Celtic buckled at the deal, or is that overpriced for Ali McCann at the moment?
See, I was thinking, I thought it was a bit expensive, to be honest, Paul. You could probably go out and get a better player for £3 million than him, yeah.
Maybe, Mark.
I mean, why not even like give him a decent sell rent or something like that to try and balance it out? I mean, I'd not say he's a bad player or that, but he's a good young player, but I just don't know at £3 million.
Do you think, Mark, it's due to the fact that it's so late in the transfer window? Maybe if Celtic approached St Johnstone early on the transfer, they could have gone for a bit cheaper. I know that St Johnstone know that Celtic are in dire need of players now. That's why they quoted him that price.
St Johnstone had brought in. St Johnstone want that. They're quite entitled to ask for that. I'm not disputing that. But I seen that they brought in that Ali Crawford that used to be at Hamilton in that as well, and I thought maybe that would be the kind of catalyst to get a move for McCann moving forward. But still a few years to go, Paul. It could all change. I see Lee O'Connor's away on loan as well.
Who's he away?
I thought he just put it up in the forum there.
What's that?
Lee O'Connor.
He's got the Tranmere. For the rest of Tranmere Rovers, I have it in my notes there. Lee O'Connor has returned to Tranmere Rovers on a season-long loan, where he impressed. He was at Tranmere last season, Mark. So, like, I was expecting him, Mark, to maybe kind of stepping up into the first team now. But I think, Mark, if he's gone out on loan again, maybe I can't see him come back, because this year, most of the Mark, was his chance really to get into the first team, wasn't it? And he was never. I know he was injured kind of at the start of pre-season, stuff like that, but Tranmere obviously see something to Mark that they want him back on loan.
I don't know what kind of contracts he under, Paul. I mean, he's still only 2021.
2021, Mark, yeah, but like he'll be on, I think, 2 years now, Mark, he's with us, I say. So I'd say he's only about a year or two left, Mark, realistically.
Just because they're going out on loan doesn't mean they've got their careers there we yet, Paul. No, their Celtic careers there we yet. Maybe it's just.
I just competitive football too, Mark, for him. Do you know what I mean? And
what we've said before, maybe he's at the stage he's not quite ready to play for Celtic, but he's at the level that he should be playing football every week to help him.
And plus, he had a good season as well, Mark, with Tranmere. He knows the club as well. It makes sense, this move, Mark, if he's not going to. Like, he's too old to be playing the Colts League because he's over to 21. So, what else could the lad actually do? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If he wasn't ready yet to step up into that first team role, another deal too that's done is Griffiths is gone. I think that's best for club and Griffiths. John, would you think that as well?
It's just Lee Griffiths' days at Celtic are over, and it's think when he obviously got his extension, and so a lot of things happened outside of football, obviously, and it just as the final straw, just all these off-field antics and stuff like that. If they had any seriousness, I back Lee Griffiths a lot, but if he had any seriousness about getting his career back in track at Celtic, he'd have deleted all his social media and just knuckled down and stuck into the football. But there's a lot of carry on outside of football, but he's a great talent, and it's sad the way he's left. And I've got a zone of form a while ago saying he was going to hit 20-30 goals this season. So I think I lost a wee bet in the forum with that as well.
It was just, I mean, it's not even it's not kind of a sudden thing with him either, really. I mean, if Brendan Rodgers came in, I'm not going on about his off-field stuff even, but I know obviously that's affected with like his mental health problems that he had a couple of years ago. And obviously, got things like that never really leave you. But it's just if Rodgers came in, and I've said that a few times, it was Rodgers kind of wrote him off right away.
Hmm.
A reporter asked him about it, and he said
Famous quote, yeah.
he scored 46 goals last season, and Rodgers turned around and says, "Ah, well, it wasn't for me." And he never kind of got much of a chance under Rodgers. Well, obviously with Dembele, do you know what I mean? Griffiths would need to have really up his game to like dislodge Dembele for the team. But I think that was just the kind of start his decline, like as a player. I'll be really surprised if he does.
I think Mackey's finished. I think he's not going to.
He'll still score goals. Do you get what I mean? He'll score maybe 10 goals this season for Dundee, which might be good enough to keep him in the league.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I've seen folk talking about, oh, he'll get back, try and get back in the Scotland team and things like that. That's never going to happen, no.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, Mark, that's the end of Lee Griffiths' Celtic career now, that he's in the last year of his contract? I think that he's gone up and loan today to Dundee, that he's basically playing now, Mark, for a new club, really, and trying to get a contract at this new club, I say.
That is the thing about it as well. I mean, it's not as if he's got the fallback to come back to Celtic next season if it doesn't work out at Dundee. So he's got, for me, really, Lee Griffiths has got a year to save his career.
And it's a shame, like, Marky, there could have been a lot more for Lee Griffiths at Celtic if he just knuckled down and do the basic of what professional footballers do in the modern game, no, Mark, coming in for pre-season, being fit. Do you know what I mean? It's not just that, like, it's just his antics on social media as well, Mark. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that, like, yeah.
But it was just a wee scheme guy like me that's never grew up kind of idea, but I'm not getting paid thousands of pounds a week to play football, know what I mean?
Mm.
Again, mental health, things like that, I'm not slagging him.
That's aside, yeah. But,
I mean, I'd never see when he did come in. I wasn't keen on Celtic saying in the first place because of the way his personal life is just kind of always been.
Yeah, that's it. Like he's personal, like he's always in the spotlight, Mark. That kind of thing, like indeed, you know.
And I said at the time, this will not end well. It might go well but this will not end well for Celtic or Lee Griffiths. I hate to say I've been proven right, but I haven't. But a lot of it again, Paul, is just down to his own stupidity. That's what it comes down to.
So when Griffiths get his contract extended for a year, I think Celtic's done a start a clause, not obviously will extend it for a year. He just has to delete all his social media and get off it and get his head knuckled down. But that's stuck something like that in his contract. But
he just didn't, like, you know.
Aye. He's a grown man. He shouldn't need a club to tell him to. Do you get what I mean? He's a guy.
I know what you mean. Aye.
It's not as if he's some 19-year-old daft wee boy on flashing his new watch.
Considering Mark, what happened to him in the past with social media and stuff like that, like, I mean, think he would, like, I don't need it now, like, I don't need social media now, like, and I'm from Griffiths, Mark, would have been in the Scotland squad this year for the Euros. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's another missed chance because of Griffiths and the way he carries on. He missed out in the Scotland team for the Euros as well. Like, there's only so much, Mark, you can defend Griffiths for. And fair enough, he got goals, but when he got the goals, Mark, we'll go back about 4 or 5 years now, if not more. You know?
It's been a steady decline, as I said, for Rodgers came in. It just seemed that Ronnie just seemed to kind of suited the way Ronnie was playing and things like that, and Ronnie still got him. He kind of brought the best out in him.
Yeah. Talks between Celtic and Tottenham for their US international centre-back Cameron Vickers has broken down. Celtic approached Tottenham today about a loan deal for the season. Spurs turned it down as they wanted a $5 million deal. Just before we came on air, I heard that an unknown French club came in with a loan deal and to buy the player for $2.5 million January. Mark, should Celtic maybe go back to Spurs and maybe offer something like that, or because what we've been kind of talking about off air, like Celtic could do better than Cameron Vickers.
I would. I wouldn't really want Celtic to. As I said the other night, in that Paul, bring in a loan to help beef up the numbers and things like that. But to go and spend money on, I mean, he's not really proving anything really.
No,
Nobody's really got that. Do you know what I mean? Nobody's really saying very good things about him. I don't mean as a man. I mean like as a player. They just don't seem to like him.
amends it was, Mark, in France there. Liam Quinn is saying that they came in with that deal for him, like, but John, we do need defenders, like, and the Celtic board are kind of letting a bit late to get an extra defender in, are we?
Centre back, I think, it's kind of a must. We need to get in. It's a bit risky getting into after this window. A foot one. Smart was saying, obviously, a 6 month loan, but we seem like a good option now. So we kind of left it a bit too late to kind of put in spec. Well, it's not too late to spend money, but it's kind of trying to get a cup to sell somebody now. But maybe go and get a loan.
Well,
Try, mate.
as well, that's the English window shuts at 11 o'clock tonight, and ours does
Mhm.
to 12. So see
Yeah,
what
it's an extra hour.
see for that hour, then the England teams know exactly who they've got and then who's available that to loan out or even to sell. That kind of
I think what it is, Mark,
a
that
few deals like that over the years. I think.
yeah, you get some leeway, don't you? That if the deal was done and it was reported to UEFA or the Scottish League or something like that, that the paperwork then can be transferred in a certain amount of hours after the deal is kind of done into it.
A bit of leeway in that as well for just like just on the paperwork and stuff like that.
Another one who looks like he's on the way out is Edward. He's actually having a medical as we speak at Crystal Palace. I believe in Mark this will go down to the wire to getting this deal over the line, I think. But it's looking like unless something drastically happens that this deal is done. Is it £15 million plus add-ons, and it will come to about 18.5 million to Celtic.
That's what's getting reported anyway. I think it's just unless he fails the medical, that's
Yeah.
will be the only thing that's going to stop it going through. I reckon, Paul.
Um,
Everything else is agreed kind of idea.
So you're looking at that, so John, right? You have Griffiths is gone, Edward is gone. So at the moment we have up front we have Kyogo, the Greek lad Jacko coming in, and we have a Yesi. Is that enough? Is that a convincing starting front three, or would you have liked to saw another person come in there?
Oh, that's with three strikers. I'll be happy with him because the way Andrew's going to be gone, it's going to look as if it's one up top. I think three's enough for that. So when Rodgers came in, he was one up top and he only had two for the first season. And the way as I know, I kind of see it's an improvement, Edward. The last season, obviously, he scored a lot of goals, but it wasn't what to be wrong. And Kyogo's an upgrade now. Griffiths is away. Kamala's away. And this Greek boy, he's banged in the goals last season, so kind of he looks as if he's going to be a bit upgraded as well. And Ajeti's just Ajeti. Kind of don't know what we've got with him yet until he gets around, but I'm happy with the three strikers we've got just now. Can see obviously with the left wing, but Kyogo earlier maybe. On you go, mate.
No, that's what I was just going to say there. I'm not sure. I mean, we're bringing in the Greek guy, Jacko, and we're saying like Kyogo. There's like our two main strikers, but so one of them's going to start on the bench. I can't see that.
No, what I'm thinking, Mark, is Kyogo, considering that we're not going. I think we can take it now, Mark, that Lovelace isn't going to be happening. All right. If this lad Yasser comes in, he's going to be the left winger more than likely. Yasser will be the left winger. So I think, Mark, the front two, I think, is going to be rotated between Yakova and maybe Kyogo up front. I think. I like. Anne said himself, Mark, that out the left wing didn't suit Kyogo because we're not using him to the best of his ability. So maybe he does what you're saying, Mark. Do we play him behind the striker and use him as a kind of a free man role?
I've said that I would like to see him doing that. The kind of way, like, I mean, Larson wasn't your out and out striker. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Lubo wasn't your out and out midfielder. Do you know what I mean? He played in that wee kind of number 10 pocket, and I think Kyogo would do brilliant for us in there.
He'd open up space as well, Mark, in that area. Do you know what I mean? Because
I'd rather see him, gone with what I've seen him out in the left, I'd rather take a chance of playing him in that kind of number 10 role than playing him out in the left again. I just didn't look do much at all, really. But his work rate again was bad one, but just getting
You still, he's not really. I think the one thing you can say about Kyogo, Mark, and the difference between him and an out-and-out striker is that Kyogo's not really a target man because he moves so much. But Celtic really need a target man to maybe hold the ball and free up that space for the likes of Kyogo, Abidar, and this new lad, Yata. If he comes in, like, we need someone that can hold the ball for these lads to move around him, don't we? You know?
Aye. And I do think that Jack will score a lot of goals for us.
Well, the Dutch league, Mark, in fairness, like, is a tough league. Like, you have tough teams. You have Ajax, you have PSV. Like, it's a tough league to be playing in, Mark. And the Dutch league always produced great. I know he's Greek, like, but he spent most of his career in Holland, like, so he would have bound to learn something over there off some of the best coaches in the world in the Dutch coaches with their youth system, Mark, aren't they? You know.
Well, as I said, he didn't do much when he was there in Greece, but he didn't get much game time, so that's the reason for that. And
Yeah.
as you compared him to where was Jamie Vardy when he was his age? I think
Exactly.
still at Fleetwood, or maybe just getting ready to move to Leicester. So is it just like that kind of stage? And Jamie Vardy's done all right for himself for a late bloomer.
Like, we always said it, Mark, and John, I'd say it to you as well. We always said the new say now is in Ange we trust. And this, John, is a signing that Ange wanted himself. So we have to trust his judgment, don't we? That we're giving, that he wanted this player and Celtic went out and they got him.
Aye, definitely. I'm fully behind him. I trust what he's doing. I see the improvements he's made, and just the way he's changed players as well. The way Rogic has come in, how he's became a different player. Young Ralston, just everybody thought his time was up at Celtic about 2 seasons ago. And how he's come in, how he's performed. We've basically got a new right back. It was under our nose. He was just needed under a right coach. Aye, it's just the striker. I heard he personally made the phone call, and that it was a signing he wanted, and he got on the phone to the striker and kind of sold the move and that to him. But I think I'm seeing manager. I trust him, and I'm excited for what's to come. If Celtic, we're more stronger.
Exactly, Mark. It is like that.
Did you make it Sunday, John? Just while you're.
First off, I thought, like I said, it was kind of end to end. I thought we didn't take our chances, but I thought we're playing well. Just coming to second off, we kind of dropped off a bit, and it just didn't get things going. But overall, I didn't think there was much in it. And just all this, I'm hearing a depleted squad. They had a keeper missing and a right back missing. And if that's us against their squad when it's depleted, then that's just a false dawn. I hope they keep believing that was a squad depleted, because basically we've got a whole new team kind of coming in and we're just getting up to speed. If that's all they can manage against is a 1-0, because a team that's just getting up to speed, then we're going to get a big fright.
It was a 1-0 and it was just a free kind of lack of concentration again, John, from a set piece that let us down, because other than that, they really did threaten, bar the Ryan Kent shot at goal. There was nothing really there from them, was there?
Just one of the ones they took a chance on it. They got a chance and they took it.
That's a team that's a team in a squad that they've spent 3 or 4 years putting together. We've been doing it for 8 weeks, and we did make enough chances to get something out of the game.
It's just, Mark, that as we said, Mark.
The Edward one, and it'd been a totally different game. It would have been that was the kind of turning point of the game when Edward made that terrible miss.
You know, that's...
Kyogo, he had to as well. You see, when it changed, when Kyogo went through the middle, you seen the 2 chances. He gets in behind, he get in behind and managed to square it, but he took the shot and he's got another chance about 2 minutes later. He's getting behind again, and this time he still took the shot, but he squared it. It was just, as you can see, he's better through the middle as well. But I tell you something, we've got to have a big wake up call. If I think that's the best we've got against us, and obviously that was a full team out basically.
I think if from now until the next Glasgow derby, that once this transfer window's opened and Ange knows exactly what players are at his disposal, we get a nice run of games, we get a nice thing, and we get into a rhythm. It'd be a totally different game back in Parkhead. Now, the one question I wanted to ask you was, do Celtic do the same to Rangers today and stop their supporters from entering Parkhead, Mark, and return the favour back to them?
Aye, I know.
You know?
If it's good enough for them to do us, it's good enough, good enough for us.
I would, but no, Celtic, Mark, they'll probably invite him, you know what I mean? Like, to be the nicer club, but I wouldn't let him in. Like, I would say F off, do you know what I mean? Not coming in, you know? Most definitely. Like, while you're going to come in, Mark, come in and trash the place again? Not a chance. Another player that I don't know if it's done yet, Mark, but it's going to be done is Christie de Beaumont, and he turned down Burnley, you said to me today.
I turned down a Premier League team to go to a Championship team. So for me, it must be down to money then, really, isn't it?
It's got to be honest, Burnley's, they've kind of got a wage structure into they don't go above and beyond with their money, and I think Bournemouth, I think they've kind of, is it no, they've got a billionaire or something back them, so it's only money to do with.
It's definitely Christie's move, Mark. Like, people are saying on the forum and they're all over Twitter, like Christie had a good few games and think sign him up, give him what he wants. Now, Celtic gave Christie 2 different offers over the last couple of weeks. They gave him one at the start of the transfer window. He turned that down. They upped their wage limit to him. And I think it was about the 18 mark. I think they upped it 18, 19. They gave it to him. And he refused that. And between these 2 contract negotiations, Mark, was around the pre-season and around the start of the Champions League qualifiers and the first game against Yarlbach is when we saw Christie kind of back to his best. But people are starting to forget here, Mark, that's when Celtic were overthinking their new contract for Christie, and that's why we saw Christie on form. We saw Christie back to his best on Sunday because he didn't get the contract he wanted. We saw good riddance to Christie. Yeah, good riddance to Christie.
8 weeks ago, Paul, I wouldn't even have had him in the team.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he was signing a contract, a long-term contract, I wouldn't even have had him in the team. Clearly,
he didn't want no intentions, Mark, of staying at Celtic. Like he's not a player, Mark, that should be one of our top highest earners in the team. Like, he's nowhere near that good at the moment for Celtic.
No. Even when he was playing well for us, I wouldn't have said he wanted to be like one of the big earners kind of thing. A player that you should push. Look, you push the boat out to keep in the books.
Mm-hmm. John, would you agree with that? With Christie?
I just think Mark says there, spot on. Just the thing I liked about Christie, he did have a lot of energy about him when he can be bothered. Just he was quite wasteful as well. He's quite lightweight, but he brought us a good bit of energy to the team when he was bothered. But it's not good enough just being bothered when you want to be bothered. Need to come out every game and fight for that badge for 90 minutes, regardless of who it's with or regardless of what you're on. But it's just no big loss, and I feel more gutted with Edward leaving, even though he done tools as well. But yeah, I'm not really too bothered about Christie.
Well, Edwards gave us some of our best memories. He's been a supporter over the last few seasons, and I suppose Christie's kind of done his bit as well towards that. But I know what you're saying there. It's a bit more. You'd have liked Edward if it came down to a choice of keeping a fully focused Christie or a fully focused Edward. It's Edward every day of the week for me.
Spot on, same here. That's how he's went for the big money in it, and Christie's no, he's got £1 million or something. What, 2 million was it for Christie?
2 million, I think. Yeah, about 2.
Aye.
That's not bad, Mark. Like, if it were late Mark, that his deal is actually finished in January. Like, it's not bad really. So it's not 2 million for Christie, you know.
But I mean, surely his agent could have got that deal sorted out long before now.
I suppose, Mark. I think he thought maybe other big clubs would have came in for him. I said.
Maybe.
You know, like the same with Edward, letting it down today. Like, I think Edward kind of saw today, Mark, that there's no one else coming in for him bar Crystal Palace, and the only reason Crystal Palace came in for Edward today is because they couldn't get the fella Niles, or is it Niles in from Arsenal?
Arsenal.
Yeah, and that's the only reason they turned their attention to Edward. You know, so clubs must have been looking at them last season going, Mark, well, if things don't go their way, or clubs like these fuckers are going to down tools. Do you know what I mean? But you won't get away with that, Mark, down the south, would you? Down in tools like that. You'll be out of the club straight away. Or you'll be benched, or you'll be thrown down to reserves. You know?
Especially, I don't imagine Patrick Vieira would put up with that kind of thing.
You know, so I think that's why, like, if you come to think the clubs like that, going back like three seasons ago. Like we had the likes of Man United were league dead, or due to Arsenal. Well, Arsenal might have been a bit better. They were 10 times better than what they are now, 3-4 seasons ago. But you had AC Milan was sniffing along with them, Mark. There was rumours Barcelona was sniffing along with them. Like, how times have changed like that. When the player doesn't perform to his best, Mark, your stocks go down. And this is no fault to know, but they're all, you know.
But I mean, stocks went down to an extent, but I mean, we still getting the money that we're delighted to pay, Paul.
Oh, without doubt, Mark, 1 year left in his contract, and we're getting that money for him and Ayer. Like,
I mean,
you have to credit Celtic for getting that money. Like,
see if Edward goes down there and can score like between 10 and 15 goals next season, he'll probably get like a step up.
mhm. I think like Henry Cosgrave, if they're saying Palace fans are celebrating, I think Crystal Palace fans need a wake up call, because if they think Edward's going to keep them up with the squad, they've got another team coming. I think this year, Mark, could be the season where they go down, because they're moaning about, they were like same. It was the same with Arsenal fans. It's the same with Crystal Palace fans. Arsenal fans were moaning that they weren't making no progress under Arsene Wenger, but Wenger was getting Arsenal into the Champions League, Mark, year in, year out, getting the big matches at Arsenal. Rodgers was keeping Palace mid-table every season, keeping in the Premier League. Don't be too big and wish. To get me what I'm trying to say, yeah. Don't wish too much. Like, getting these managers to leave. Like, Palace could struggle without Hutchison this season, Mark. Do you know?
I know what you mean. Well, Palace have done a kind of same kind of situation as us, isn't it? Vieira's came in and trying to change
the whole trying to change the whole football and the way they played football, that kind of a thing. Like, try.
Hodgson knew the job was to just survival. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is Vieira going there to sort of survive? Do you know what I mean? He was a combative player, that kind of thing. Maybe.
But that's like.
Maybe even Vieira's just kind of seen that as a kind of stepping stone.
Stepping stone.
I think he'll have his eye in the Arsenal job. Just by
definitely.
Players in it, and a manager will be.
I think he's gutted he never got that job in the first place. I think that was the one job he think. But my bet on, I know we're going a bit off topic here. I know we're going down south, but would be the first manager to get the sack down south. I think is going to be Arteta.
I think so as well.
He's kind of sugar peg.
Because they really went backwards since Arsene Wenger. Even like, look at the fella that they got rid of, Mark. The fella Emery. He won the Europa League with Villarreal last season. Like, and just because he had a couple of bad results, then with Arsenal, like the Arsenal fans never took into him.
Aye.
And they got rid of him. I know they've Arteta. I'm not a big fan, Mark, in ex-players, and I'm fair enough. Lennon did it, and he was successful in his first set. Like, but I'm not a big fan, Mark, in ex-players coming managers of the club they played for, and I think that's why United never approached Giggs.
Oh, I think that just it's what am I trying to say? Go to John now to try and think back to what I was trying to say there.
What would you think of that, John? Like, ex-players come and manage. Like, if you're like Arteta was classified as an Arsenal legend. Same with Neil Lennon, and I know Neil Lennon was successful with us and things like. But I'm not a big fan of ex-players coming managers of their previous clubs.
You're saying Arteta's obviously been given a job, obviously, because he is with Arsenal, but in terms of management, he's not really done much, and he's not proven to do much at Arsenal now. But if you've got something about you, and obviously if you've played for the club, I think obviously there's an opportunity for you. Going with Lennon is different. I think he came in and kind of steered the ship to the end of the season.
That time.
He done well, and that's obviously how we got offered it. But the second time, obviously,
football was kind of different back then. It was kind of Scottish football was kind of more physical back then as well, John. When Lennon came in, but now you're seeing, even in the Scottish setup, John, you're seeing more skillful players.
Lennon had Albion. That is his background team as well. No, I mean, maybe it was a coaching back then, Paul Paul, that was making a difference in Lennon's team, the first team.
Correct.
But I agree with
My-
you saying players shouldn't get a manager's job just because they played for a club. They've got
Yeah.
kind of qualifications or
But realistically, Mark, like,
record.
what did Arteta do before he got that job? Like, was it due to the fact that he walked on the Pep Guardiola that he got that job, and they thought that maybe they'll have the Pep Guardiola style in Arsenal?
I've not got a clue what their thinking was, Paul. The disaster wrote out for day one.
Because I was talking to went run to some of my shops there last week, and there's a fella in one of my shop, like this fella, no Mark, is an Arsenal fanatic, like, and it takes him a lot now to criticise. Even at the lowest mark, he wouldn't criticise Arsenal. He'll always find something good, but this fella here was raging against Arteta. He said, like, even Tierney, because he knows I'm a Celtic fan, even Tierney's not playing well because of the morale that's inside the stadium. Do you know what I mean?
I was surprised there wasn't a big move for him this summer, Paul, because maybe partly because of the state Arsenal's in.
Yeah, and it did, like,
I mean,
they are, like,
a couple of years ago, I explained it on the forum and that they dipped into like their future transfer fee money to give that
Ozil.
the
Was
previous manager to give him a transfer budget.
Yeah, they dipped into that. Yeah,
They were like they were into like next year's money already, like 2 years.
and they couldn't. They had no money then to buy players in their next budget. Like he said, he taught me, Mark, that these American owners over there, right, that owned Arsenal, like, a lot of that money from the Arsenal Football Club goes back to their they own two baseball teams over in America.
And got money, they just don't spend it, innit?
Yeah.
So owners are greedy.
And they built brand new stadiums over in America with money that they got from the Arsenal club. You know, I don't believe it, like, it could be, but I don't know how you could actually do that, Mark. Could you really take money out of one club and...
Well, the Glazers are doing it at Man United. They're kind of running about ways, isn't they, sir? They can't do that. I mean, Arsenal have spent a lot of money, but they've just not spent it wisely enough. And they've got, I see Ed 1 and 2 talking about him all the time. It's that, see that Edu, can you mind him as a player?
He's under question, Mark.
He's like their sporting director. Or it's him that's kind of running the show for him behind the scenes. And it just appears that he's just not really got a clue what he's doing.
No, because you look back to the Arsene Wenger time, Mark. He had Liam Brady there for years running the youth system there, and that was Arsenal at their best. When they had this youth system, Mark, and they would bring all these players in from their youth system, like Brady might have been a good manager, Mark, and stuff like that, but he was one heck of a coach, Mark, for really that young talent and helping young talent.
For years, I mean, in charge.
Do you know he spotted Camera from Rangers?
Liam
He spotted him in Finland, brought him off to Arsenal when he was a youngster, and trained him up at Arsenal when he was a youngster. And Brady knew from day one, like Brady, he even says it to this day, that Camera is too big for Rangers, and it's because, Mark, he's not playing with this big international team that teams didn't take a chance on him. You know.
I don't know about that. I don't think he's that good. Do you?
No, but I'm saying back then, like, you know, that he was surprised he didn't get a bigger move, Mark, or even break into the Arsenal team. Like, he was saying it like that. He was that good when he was a youngster at the Arsenal Academy. Like, he thought he would go on to bigger things, and he thought it was due to the fact that because he was from Finland and Finland wasn't a big nation going back then, Mark.
They a turn for us, they know. Do you know what I mean? He's a powerful unit and avoiding that, but they were talking of Juventus and everyone were looking at him and that. I didn't believe.
Oh, for Christ's sake, an unknown Saudi Arabia club again, probably. You know, I suppose the big question here today, though, lads, is right. Christie, Edward, and Griffiths are gone, right? That's 3 out. There's 2 coming in, right, to replace them. All right, there's Yotta. Like, we don't know if Yotta's coming in yet, Mark, because that deal's not done yet. But I'm kind of left to believe that it is getting close. That his medical is done. It is getting close. But I don't know. But that's going to be, that deal will close a buy-in. Like the deal to buy him will be 7 million at the end of it. So at least we have that option, Mark. If he is good, that we have the first option on to buy him. All right. So, but we're not really adding to the squad, Mark. We're just replacing players that's leaving, and we're one dunk short. So we're letting go through. We're placing them with two. That's the big question here today, isn't it?
We'll just play Griffith. Not done anything. So
I know that is still a squad. Like you said,
but for me, that should just cutting away a bit of deadwood, really, with Lee Griffiths. I wouldn't say.
What would Griffiths be on, roughly? About 15, 17, Mark, I'd say? Bit more?
No, Griffiths wouldn't have been that kind of money. It'd been about 12 at the most, Paul.
12.
Aye, at the most.
And what would he get at Dundee then, Mark, if he went to Dundee? Like, would Celtic not have to kind of...
Aye, we'll be paying a big whack his wages.
Wages? Yeah.
Which it just shows you how stupid it was giving him the year's extension at the time. Now,
but we could see the sense of it back then, Mark, because we actually
we were short on
didn't know where we were. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but we were hoping to have a fit Lee Griffiths, Mark, going into the Midtjylland games and the pre-season. Do you know what I mean? That was Griffiths' chance to get into Andrew's plans. I think, Mark, we know now what kind of a man Durans is. If you don't knock it down, if you don't give him respect and the team respect, he'll have you out the door. Oh, yeah. And that's the case that we're seeing with Griffiths here now.
Aye, misbehaving or anyway, bringing embarrassment onto the club.
Yeah.
The ins and outs and all that. Do you know what I mean? It was still
15 grand, Mark, he's on. Griffiths, Pedro said.
15 grand.
That's a lot, Mark. Like, that's good ways to be freeing up to, Mark, isn't it?
Aye, that all goes in the pot. But we'll still be paying a good whack of that because they're not winning the world at Dundee.
What would they pay, Mark? About 5?
No chance will Dundee.
Oh.
No. $2,000 or something, will be in it.
Really?
Most really, I'd say.
That's probably a high earner, isn't it? 2-3 grand.
Would they be on it? Would that all their players would be on about 2-3 grand?
That's
their top players. That'll be like your Charlie Adam and...
Jesus Christ, they play match on Saturday. They're walking in Asda then at the weekend, topping up the shelves.
And that coming season them as well, isn't it? I mean, that...
Yeah.
What a pure scumbag of a team. Lee Griffiths, Charlie Adam, and that...
Jesus Christ. I could see Lee Griffiths inside the dressing room singing Charlie Adam's sister's pants inside the dressing room. Huh?
Right, see about this stuff about your sister's pants and that.
Yeah. Here's this. Look, that's this. That's this. But I can see it because Charlie Adam is a right Rangers fanatic, Mark. Do you know what I mean? Like, and Griffiths can't stand that side of the country, Rangers and Hearts and stuff like that. I'd love to be a spider in the wall inside that fucking dressing room, wouldn't you? Jesus Christ.
Is that Charlie Adam that's saying we'd only get 5 million for Edward?
Yeah.
No.
Biting his lip now, I think. We're having, technically in the first team squad, we have 4 keepers. We've Hart, Barkas, Bain, Hazard. Barkas, Mark, turned down and approached by Panathinaikos today.
I've seen that.
That he's not leaving, so that's another year.
But he knows that he's just going to be sitting there on the bench at the best. Do you know what I mean? He's no, unless Hart gets injured, Barkas isn't going to get a chance in the team.
So
even then, if Hart get injured, really, do you go with Barkas or do you go with Bain? I still wouldn't be surprised to see one of the keepers leaving, Paul, before the window shut.
I think Hazard is the most likely, Mark. I think so maybe Dundee or maybe a League Two side might come in with him. I think Barkas, Mark, has no intention of leaving because he's probably on good money. I say, Mark.
But again, if he went back to Greece, if he's only on loan, Celtic need to make up the wages.
Mm-hmm. Panathinaikos are Greek, though, aren't they?
Aye.
Yeah, so they would be the top, one of the top teams in Greece. Like, you know what I mean? Like just touch wood, Mark. That's what we don't come to a position during the season where we're hard picking up an injury and we're depending on Barkas and Bain again. At least now, that seems one area, John, that seems to be settled at the moment is the keeper situation. Hart has really done well since he came in.
Aye, 100%. I'm happy and pleased with what Hart's done. It's just when he came in a wee bit, I had that wee thing in my head, like, of just the way his career's went the last 3 years, but he's come in, he's settled in, and he seems to be a leader in the squad as well. I think it was Callum McGregor was getting took off, he was running there to give Hart the armband. I think he was told to give to Christie. But it just shows you that's what obviously Callum McGregor must see him as well. He must be a big voice in that in the changing room. That's what we're kind of needing as well. Leaders in that in the squad and people that's going to drag us through games, people with experience and stuff. And I'm happy, and it's strengthened our goalkeeper. But it's obviously it's an injury bit. It's just a worry in it. As you're saying there, is it Barkis or Bain do you go with? It's the only worrying thing about it.
It is rare for a keeper to get injured, but really, no, I mean, you're thinking kind of, we're looking at like
unless you're Barkas and you're a keeper that doesn't use your hand, but you still injure your finger pre-season. Do you know what I mean? So that was the strangest injury of all time when he doesn't use his hands and he fractured his finger. You know what I mean?
back to Charlie Adams' sister again.
She snaps at you. Paris Saint-Germain have rejected a £189 million deal for Mbappe for Real Madrid, Mark.
Crazy money, isn't it? Absolutely crazy money when you look at what's going on in the world out there.
Last year his contract as well, so you just run that down to January, innit?
I did think that would have been through, Paul. I thought Mbappe would have been away to Real Madrid this summer.
I think PSG are playing a dangerous game here, like, because if he doesn't sign a deal, Mark, if he doesn't leave them today, right, he's going to sign a pre-contract with Real Madrid in January and leave PSG for nothing. Look at the money what they could get. But Mark, realistically, are the PSG's only owners worried about that? The money they have? I really don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I think they badly want to win the Champions League. And I think if they can win it this year, they quite happily take the hit on Mbappe for nothing.
And Mbappe will now join Real Madrid on a free transfer next season, Mark. You know what I mean? So that's all they're interested, Mark, is win the Champions League next season. And if they have to hold on to Mbappe to do that for one season and then go off nothing, that's what the owners want there, Mark. They just want to win that and if they don't win that Champions League, something must be said about.
One up against Man City. Do you know what I mean? It's all these Middle Eastern.
That's it, yeah.
Families all competing with each other.
And there's fierce competition there, Mark, between all those kind of Dubai owners in there. That's what it is, like, you know.
So I think they're trying to have a wee competition whether Man City or PSG are going to win the Champions League first.
But there's a good one here from Terence, like, and Terence is saying, like, how would they get away with the financial fair play? Is it because they didn't buy them and they have so much
transfers, Paul?
Yeah.
I mean, it's see like that Qatari Airways or whatever that sponsors PSG.
Yeah.
You probably look into it. They'll have somebody to do with PSG, or there'll be somebody along the line that's got to do with it that owns them, and they'll be sponsoring PSG for £500 million.
Jesus, man. So
that's how they get kind of run all this, with the sponsorship deals, and they're like over-egging the sponsorship deals. It would be like Dermot Desmond saying, hey, I'm going to sponsor Celtic with, what's that, his beach resort place called Sandy Beach or something, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Dermot Desmond could turn and say, hey, I'm going to sponsor Celtic with this Sandy Beach resort on their front of their top, and I'll give them £150 million a year to do it. Nobody can stop him doing that. But you know, we know that that's no worth that money. Do you get what I mean? So it's that kind of thing. Because what I talk about it, directors can.
So it's just a way of them so kind of saying, look, we're generating this money from the business. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we're generating the money, so we're going to spend it. I mean, a lot of them are kind of flying close to the wind, and I think maybe the Super League kind of stuff maybe put off UEFA, maybe hammering much tight as they were maybe planning to do. You know, that eventually it'll need to get sorted out. There'll be something needs to get done about it.
And what about, Mark? So right, you're looking at the positions now that we have, right? So we have 4 keepers, we say, at the moment in the things, so we're not worried about that area, right? So right back we're going to have Vlahovic and Jovanovic, I think, is there. Our centre backs are Julian, Welch, Beaton, Starfelt. I'm going to say Yorahidi as well, Mark, because that's what he actually is a centre back.
Could probably throw Scales into that mix.
Scales in that mix as well. And left back, we're going to have Taylor, Montgomery, Bolingoli. You can play Scales there. You can play Ivanovic there, Mark, which we saw he actually did very well for his first game on Sunday. It didn't phase the market, even if it wasn't his starting position. You know, is that defence all right? Or do we still? Would you like to see Celtic maybe? I know we're looking for a defender and we kind of talked away from Spurs thing, but do you think Celtic are actually still looking at a defender?
I think it must be, Paul. Even with getting it back down to Spurs and asking about that Carrollton Vickers or whatever. But I know we all like to see young players come in and progress in that, but I'd like to see somebody with a bit of an older heat come in.
A bit of experience there, Mark, because I think that's what a defence is lacking at the moment. A bit of someone who can.
A bit physical about them, like we've spoke about that Cahill, but he's ready to both as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he would have been ideal.
A Cole Touré, we may brought him in, something like that.
Idea.
Someone like that, John, yeah, just to give us some experience who actually maybe knows how to organise the line or tell them where their positioning should be. I know Hart is starting to, you could see that Hart is having some influence on the bench, John, by his organisation there, but you need someone maybe in the middle of them for some games just to get their positioning right, because something like it's for that corner at the weekend, like it was down to our positioning that kind of Rangers scored as well, you know.
If any of you have noticed, because I've not really noticed, have they sacked this kind of zonal marking thing?
I think so, you know.
See, I'm trying to kind of work it out, and sometimes it looks as if we're zonal marking, and sometimes it looks as if, I don't know, maybe that's another Ange thing that we're kind of mixing it up. Well, the Staff should have done better for that goal on Sunday, no disputing that fact. But who was Martin Helander making a run? That's the main problem for me.
That's the problem there. Do you know what I mean? Like,
defenders, like, on you go, mate.
No, I was saying, like, fair enough, like, it went over Starford's head, Mark, but Hadland's run should have been blocked anyway. Do you know what I mean? You know, he should have had a free header like that because he was running in on goal, Mark, and if you're running in goal, you're not going to miss. But that's basically what it was, Mark. He didn't out. Like, some people are going on there that he outpowered Starfelt, but Starfelt wasn't the one that was marking him.
No, no, because Starfelt was in the box when the corner was getting took, and Helander's...
Was it Terence? Terence was on Sunday, and Terence was saying that as well, weren't he? Terence is on the live chat tonight that whoever was marking Handland, that's the problem, like, you know. But do you think, Mark, do you think maybe Celtic, is there anyone maybe in the Scottish League, Mark, that can come in there and do a job there? Or do you think that the Scottish League clubs know what that's Celtic for too much? Or is there anyone there that we could approach?
He plays a centre back.
Mm-hmm.
No, Paul, really, nobody's really caught my eye. I wouldn't say there's any kind of outstanding centre backs in Scotland, do you? Would you, John?
Because
there's no anybody that really stands out to me either. It's just, I can't really think of anybody either, mate.
The only concern for me, and I think the biggest concern for everyone, is that if anything happens to Welsh or Starfelt, more than likely it's going to be Beaton that's going to have to go back there, and we don't want to be going down that road again, do we? You know? But I'd like to see Yorahidi, Mark, or Scales being shown in there and see what they, because like what I've seen of Yorahidi during pre-season, Mark, on the right hand side, he looks like a tough lad as well, and looks like he can be doing a job, like, you know.
Tim, I mentioned him in the forum earlier, and Tim was saying as well he'd like to see him getting a bit of game time. He's making the bench, which is a decent
start
for the lad. Then I said we've got this game coming up against Wraith Rovers. I'd some of the younger guys into that game and give them a run out and see what they can do. You're better off with the rules, Paul. But see, if we're allowed to see like that Bawz Bovril and that, bring him up to play in the League Cup game.
Well, he can. There's actually, I was actually looking into that, Mark. Right. he can actually come up and play in the Scottish Cup and he can play in the League Cup, and that won't affect him going back down into the Coach League. Then it's different cups.
Well,
Do you get me?
ideal.
So
That's
there's
definitely
like
something that you should look into.
it's only if they played, because that's why, you know, Liam Shaw, when he drops down into, because he's part of the first, he's classified now as the first team player, right? But if you notice that there was a cup match there a couple of weeks back that Celtic coach team were playing in, and he actually started in that game. So that's why he could start in that game, Mark, because it's a cup game and the rules don't apply for cup games. So that's a benefit to Celtic, that we could bring up with maybe the likes of Lorne, even Moffat, man. We could bring him up, see what he's like in the team. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a chance for us to actually bring up these players from the coach team and see if they're ready for that step up, because I would like to see Lorne come up into this first team. You know,
Even if they're bringing them up, again, Wraith Rovers, it's a game we're expected to win, but we've still got.
but they'd be playing that standard mark down the coach league, would they?
Aye, but
Like, surely.
still got to go and win the game. But I mean, see, like putting one, well, even Welsh is still a young player, I guess. But see, like putting like that boss at Lowell in the centre of defence and another young guy in the midfield. That kind have this
Yeah,
team
mix it up a bit. Yeah,
I have them
yeah.
dotted about, and then if and when the games we've got the game tied up, even bring another couple of young lads off the bench just to give them a run out and see how they cope for playing for the first team.
I suppose the problem too, Mark, is the thing with the coach league and the first teams. Like, the matches are kind of played on the same day as well, and if they're on the bench, then if they're going to miss out on the coach team, then like, so I think maybe that's what they're kind of thinking there, that they kind of need him for the coach league, you know. But I was certainly having at least, Mark, playing some bit in the League Cup, just to see if, because considering like we're so light at the moment in defence, but we have these big lads, Mark, down nothing, like even develop this young lad Dane Murray a bit more, Mark. See what he's like, because he didn't do too bad when he played at Reach, and I know he's a bit young, like, but he didn't do that bad, did he?
Oh, he looked alright, but he's only 18-year-old or something. He showed he's a decent enough player for his age.
Yeah,
See,
I was.
so if I cut in, man, that Jack Henry's just signed for Club Brugge for 10 million. It's just come up there, man.
Jack Henry.
Aye, man,
Jack
10 million
Henry,
euros, man.
10 million. I heard that they were kind of sniffing around. Like, they didn't take long, Mark, to get the money for Henry today. What they paid Celtic for, they didn't take long to sell him off today.
1.5 we got from it.
Aye.
The intentions of coming back here. People will probably be on the forum moaning about that. Celtic board should have brought him back to sell. The guy, he said it was in words, you know, didn't want any intentions.
He didn't want to. Yeah, he said it, Mark, that he didn't want to come back. Like Henry said it, Mark. But Mark, you look at it, like, the Belgium league, Mark, is different to the Scottish league. Do you know what I mean, he was just, and you saw it too when he was playing with Scotland, Mark. He was still a bit shaky, like.
Shite.
You know.
Plain and simple.
No, come on, Johnny, but
Oh, I know, I had to say, wasn't I didn't fancy him either.
people know what it was. People read stories on the internet. Oh, Jack Henry did a good game for so and so, and that's the all of a sudden. Why did we let him go? Why? They don't actually watch him.
Mm-hmm.
Aye.
Yeah,
Just
we should never have signed him. Never.
it's just clubs in it. There's players
But
that
that was
just
another-
doesn't work
that-
out.
Aye.
That was another piece of Lawrence signing, Mark. I think definitely, I said that was another piece of Lawrence signing. That piece of Lawrence just saw him as the cheap option and bought Henry as a cheap option.
Aye, I
You know?
probably agree with that. Aye. I mean, who was it? Rogers that was manager when we signed him, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Janley, but they brought him in the Janley, I think.
I mean, you've not got to say that before.
Rogers gave him loads of chances as well, Mark. Like, it's not as if Mark he wasn't given his chances at Celtic. He did get his chances, Mark, but he was just making mistakes over and over again. Like, you know what I mean? You know, that was the problem with Henry. Like.
With more about the pacing, that can you imagine Jack Henry trying to play Nanji's team now?
Yeah.
I
True.
turn quicker, Paul, and I've only got one leg.
Jesus Christ. You know, where we go now, do you think, Mark? Do you think the way things are looking at Celtics, it's so quiet? Are we gone from the days, do you think, Mark, we can expect a marquee signing coming in, like an experienced head that would get the fans jumping off their streets? Like I remember the times growing up when the Celtic webpage cracked when we signed Robbie Keane. Everyone was clicking onto the Celtic site and it crashed. Are those days gone, do you think, or will we see? Do you think we're expecting a big surprise maybe tonight from the Celtic Football Club?
No, I don't think so, Paul. I don't. I'm saying that, as I said earlier, once this English window closes, you know what I mean, you see what's available, like still doing in England, because when they're like, that's the aim, they can't bring any players in. Do you know what I mean? But you can move players out as long as you're to a window that's still open. So we've got that hour. Once the English teams have got their settled squads and they know where they're at, there'll be players that become available, even on loan and things like that. But I think the days is getting somebody like your Robbie Keanes and Craig Bellamy's and that, I think they're maybe long gone now.
John, would you agree with that, John?
Just the way Scottish football's gone, it just seems to be going down the pecking order. Well, money just seems to be getting less and less, and it seems to be more attractive in all our leagues. Money's are going up and wages are going up, so I say days are kind of gone. It's just the way we're going now, we need to kind of try and buy these wee gems we're getting for like 3-4 million and just making profit on them. I just need to fish the market we're in.
Let's take a kind of look down memory lane, Mark, and what was your best moment during transfer windows days, during your time following Celtic? What was the best thing that you said, wow, and stuff like that?
Roy Keane sign.
Yeah?
I know, no, but obviously, I mean, Robbie Keane saying that was brilliant, but just because of what I feel about Roy Keane, Paul, you know what I mean? It was just, that was the kind of thing. But years ago, and it's a weird, probably a lot of maybe younger guys, but see me saying Big Alan Stubbs, I was delighted with that. Absolutely delighted with that. I think it was wee Kenny that comes on. I think it was me and him away up to Aberdeen for his debut. He gets sent off. I've been raving about the Celtic signing this boy. I'm like, wait to see this boy, what a player he is and that. And he gets sent off his first game up at Pittodrie. But I was really excited with Alan Stubbs coming in, but just for the pure kind of daft fanboy stuff and that, I'd probably just say Roy Keane.
Stubbs was a really no-nonsense defender, man. He was a tough defender, wasn't he, Stubbs? And he got some, I remember it was Jones, some weeknight game against Rangers, man. I know it was at League Cup or something, like when Stubbs scored a goal against Rangers and the pissing rain. I remember that clearly, He
was a good tough tackling defender, but he could play the game as well, Paul. He was good to see his range.
And he went back
as well.
He went on to Mark, and he had a good career with Everton as well down the south. He became captain of Everton, and
I think Everton was his team, was it? No, he was
was
for Liverpool, and I think that was his boyhood club. But
club Everton.
I thought Stubbs was a great player for us.
It's him, Big Malky Mackay, wasn't it, doing with the back? The two centre backs. So we're kind of needing a new in it. Physical, somebody big and physical at him.
What about yourself, John? What was your big moment during the transfer window? And
I've had a couple. Roy Keane was one. Craig Bellamy was one. And Big Sutton signed. I was excited about that as well. But it's also in names and stature, it has to be Roy Keane, doesn't it? Can tell us awfully how big he was.
Probably, I know. I'd maybe throw Giannini into the mix.
Well, he was, Mark. That's what I'm going on about the marquee signing. Because I had him down. I thought it'd be controversial, but it's not because he failed or anything like that. It's because he was a big name, and that's what.
Even
the things.
Throw Gravison in there as well, isn't it?
Yeah, big players, Mark. Yeah, that we signed. Like they were marquee signs. The set. I remember being over in. I was over in Spain, I think, when we signed Jorginho, and I was inside the Celtic pub, and the place just went mental, Mark, when they were signing him. Like, you know what I mean? The place just went ballistic, like, and that's what it feels like when a club actually signs a marquee signing. Do you know what I mean?
See, when you look back here, like Celtic signings and that, very, very rarely the big marquee signings actually work out for us.
Sure.
No,
True.
when you look at it, Larson came in the door at 650,000 and nobody really batted an eyelid. Didn't we? Not really. I mean, the only reason I knew Larson was because he played in the World Cup and his hair it stood out like a sore thumb because of his hair. And that's the only reason I knew who Larson was. Other guy like Petrov came in, he was the next big best thing. I couldn't mind him coming on, man. He just looked so overweight and lazy and things like that.
Mhm. Mhm. I remember. This is you're going to haunt me for this, but I just liked him because of his hair, and I was delighted it was Reggie Blinker because the dreadlocks. I remember.
The
Jesus.
the worst thing about that was that Celtic spun that us getting Reggie Blinker is a good thing out of Decanio going to Sheffield Wednesday.
Christ, yeah.
Celtic tried to spin it that we were getting a better deal out of that.
So, yeah, I remember we signed him by, and he came up. Fucking, he never hit it off at Celtic either, Max. He didn't Reggie Blinker, do you know what I mean?
And
Jeez.
but see another one, I know a lot of people do rate it as well. Didier Ragat, I never rated Didier Ragat. I just thought all he does is run. I was glad when Celtic built that big other stand because he was just going to end up running at Parkhead Cross if he just done.
I'd pace, didn't he? It was phenomenal.
I
50 grand or something.
But
Jeez, I can imagine him in Nanch team, Mark, wouldn't you? Jeez, he'd flourish, wouldn't he?
we've said that about Frimpong and that all he could do was run. But for me, that was all Gat could do as well. I never thought he was that great a player.
Mhm.
For 50 grand, he done his. Do you know what I mean? He done enough to warrant paying 50 grand, and he wouldn't have been much money as wages in that. But just the way some people going about him, and I had one of my pals used to think he was a pure wee tricky player and that, and he used to call himself the White Agat. That's what he
Jeez.
called himself. Do you know what I mean? That was his own wee nickname for himself. I used to say, "You're more like a white Momo Silla." You mind Tim as well?
Aye. Who is it? Who's a Scottish team you get him off of, innit? Who is it? St Johnstone?
Johnson
Aye.
as well. He
I
said,
can't.
but that was Martin O'Neill.
Kieran Reynolds is saying Cadesi for his fanfare and drama, leaving it up. Cadesi was another great player, Mark, wasn't he? For a short time that he had at Celtic, didn't he? With his big, huge bush of blonde hair, and you know he was some player for us. Yeah.
Doyle at the professionals, so he's here.
And I remember the song and everything. There's only one George Cadesi puts the ball in the net he wanted. That was the song.
He's got hair like spaghetti.
Yeah, Bobby Petta he was another nice player actually, wasn't he, Mark? Bobby Petta?
He was married to my mate's sister, so he was.
Was he?
Aye. My mate's a big Rangers fan as well.
Jesus Christ.
His claim to fame there, John.
Aye, my mate Billy, it's mental the stories he used to tell us, man. Once, obviously, Bobby and his sister went on holiday, not he had the code to the house, not, and he took everybody out, had a party in the house, and I don't know who was sponsored at the time, he had a sponsor, and he had all the trainees and all that, and the sheer cupboard, and all that stuff, he'd had half the sponsor, all clays and trainers, and he was just giving them out to everybody in the party, trainees and all that, tracksuits, t-shirts, everything. Aye, it's just, my mate Billy. So I'm not married anywhere, it's just about years ago, but aye, it was his sister's husband.
One player, Mark, who really gets mentioned by the Celtic fans, and Henry Cosgrave's put it up there, and he was some player in his day, was Andre Tom, wasn't he?
Andy Tom was a brilliant player. I got interviewed outside Celtic Park one night with a German television company about him, and I was pissed out my face. I was the old episodes of Wiedersehen Pet. Big Oz out of them standing outside Celtic Park trying to kid on I knew I was how to talk German and that. Oh yeah, get it all that.
Like watching Mark translating the old Channel 18 that used to be on years ago. Telling your dad 5 to 12, like I'm going upstairs, and back then used to have was it Mark, where he was watching, you could watch upstairs?
Aye.
You look at your dad and you right, I'm going up to bed now, and you're sitting up like, come on, Dad, change that channel.
You'd hear your mom going to bed and you would know, right, here we go.
That's the sign. That's the turn it down.
Kevin Bridges.
Kevin Bridges, one thing, he was a good man yourself. He gives me the look, I give him the look. It was brilliant, by one day, it was brilliant. Mark, there's an error there came up on the chat on the screen, the YouTube screen.
Aye.
But we're still live though, aren't we?
Aye.
Yeah, but Mark, just look at the players. What we're not signing today. Like in JFP looks proper good ones here, and Barry's been mentioned a good few of them here as well. Right? When he's been on the pod with us, like we're not going for the likes of Dine, we're not going for the likes of Boy, Nesbitt, Ali McCann. Like these are the upcoming new players of Scottish football. Like why aren't Celtic going for these players, Mark? Is it getting too expensive for us to go into the Scottish market, or are we being quoted too much?
I think that maybe be a bit of part of it, Paul. Celtic maybe just don't think it's like value in the, as I said earlier with McCann, if St Johnstone want £3 million from him, they're quite entitled to ask for that. Maybe Celtic just don't think they are. But it looks as if Lewis Ferguson's actually like planning like, it's more like he fancies me to move down to England.
I think we can. I think
going to be the day or anything like that, but
I think Mark. Yeah, I think Ferguson himself anyway. I think he's staying at Aberdeen this season anyway, and maybe if someone came in from January, maybe Aberdeen might look to see where they are on the table or something like that, and then they'll. But I think Ferguson, all the talk about Celtic should be approaching Ferguson, it's not going to happen. You know, if it would have happened, Mark, there would have been a bid came in there. We don't know, Mark, if the bids came in because when you were saying that his father and his uncle were saying like Aberdeen turned down bids and they had an agreement with him, but it's not happening, Mark, is it? Celtic and Ferguson,
doesn't it?
You know?
And as I said, I think even if they did, Paul, I don't think it would. I think if it was like 100% available, like maybe with that Aberdeen, if they were letting him go or what, even if I think if English teams came in for him, he would pick moving down there over is now.
Yeah,
No, it's
but like
Celtic, you can't blame Celtic for anything like that. You know what I mean?
exactly, John. What about yourself? Like, would you have seen Celtic maybe going for these players like Ali McCann, Dine, Nesbitt, and team?
Aye, Dale's obviously been able to afford them and obviously would probably make a move from them, they would jump at a chance to come to us. I'd be happy with anyone if they signed them, but say it's obviously with Lewis Ferguson, I think his dad says in the Open Goal podcast a while back it's England he wants to go to. But other uppers, I would definitely take them at Celtic. It'll improve our squad as well because they're stoning out at their clubs in this league, so obviously they come into a team with better players and that around them and it's going to shine.
Do you think Doig's worth £5 million to Celtic?
£5 million's a bit of an ask, it's in it. He's had a good season, he's still young, but I think with the £5 million, I think we could obviously go and sell somebody that's better and experienced.
But if you look at this with Denmark, right? Like we're always saying that we never thought we'd see the day of Celtic signing, selling players back in the last year of their contracts for 15 million and stuff like so. So maybe Hibernian, Mark, have actually looked at themselves as a club as well and go, we're sick of selling our players at the cheap. Why should we be? Yeah.
A problem with whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's just if the club. It's just even getting back to like us with Edward, right? Obviously, the Celtic dropped the price. But as if window was shutting kind of idea, but Celtic stuck with their guns for long enough and they still got a really good fee in for Edward. If him $5 million for Doig, it's up to somebody to pay that. If nobody's going to pay that, he's either going to stay at Hibs or Hibs will need to drop their fee or whatever. But they're more than entitled to ask for what they think the player's worth.
Because it was the same, Mark, with the Janovic deal, like the previous Polish players. Was it Maciek Żywczewski came out and said it, Mark, that he couldn't believe the price that Celtic got Jovanovic for from Lega Warsaw. But like, does that, Mark, show like that clubs actually need the cash now more so than ever because of the pandemic, and that's why we got this the defender on the cheap?
Oh, maybe be doing things like that, Paul. But see, what was his? How long did he have to go on his contract?
About 2 years, I think he had. But Mark, when I translated that in for you, like, if you transfer that into zlotys, because they're not in the euros, that's about 13 million zlotys, and that's a lot of money. Like, you could buy, like Leg Roster could buy about 3 or 4 players over in Poland for that money, and they'll be the next big thing in the Polish league, Mark. That they'll be bringing in. Do you get me? So
That's
it
that's
is a lot of money to leg at. Do you know what I mean?
it's a good business model to have.
Hmm.
Basically, Vegas doing what we're wanting Celtic today, on obviously
Yeah,
with a wee
they
small
buy
budget. Aye,
they scout the best players, Mark, in the league, and if they feel there's a player down in their leagues, Mark, who's doing well, you're more than guaranteed that they'll be on Lega's books next year. It's same with Bayern Munich, Mark, in Germany. If Bayern Munich see that there's a player down the leagues there, Mark, that's performing, Bayern Munich have him snapped up. Like you rarely see, no, Mark, you rarely see Germans come out of the German league, do you? They kind of, Oliver Kahn, like one of the greatest
really
goalkeepers
done
in the
that.
world, never came out. So, yeah,
The
you know.
Germans have always really been like that.
Mhm.
A lot you told years ago when Italian football was popular, a lot of their top players went out to Germany. But that
Yeah,
German football was going through a kind of transitional period at that kind of time, if I mind right, or maybe just after that. But really, there wasn't. I mean, when Klinsmann went to Spurs, that was a kind of big deal.
yeah,
It was the
yeah.
Germans always kind of just stayed in Germany or maybe went to Italy. The the lesser known players maybe have bounced about like Austria. Do you get that wee kind of region in Europe? But
Mhm.
Germans always, or if they came to England and played for a year or two, went back to Germany. There was always
Talking about Klinsmann, Mark, I was reading like past transfer moves and stuff like that, and Tottenham's contract negotiations was over the phone to Klinsmann. He was on a yacht on holidays, and he was talking to was it Alan Sugar? I think was the chairman back then. Like imagine that, like a Jew talking to a German about a transfer deal. But that was history back then, Mark. Like it was like that was like that was like different times, Mark. Like I mean, it was still like for
I can mind that. That was mentioned quite. That really was mentioned a fair bit.
yeah, there was a Jew talking to a German about coming to a football club that time, Mark. There was first thing like how could this be? Like why is a Jew buying a German? Do you know what I mean? That was a big thing back then, Mark. Like
And especially as well, Paul, with Spurs background, they're a kind of Jewish. I mean, a lot of Jewish people in London that was saying that makes up the Spurs support. So,
yeah,
wasn't. I mean, I'm kind of cringing talking about this in 2021, but this was spoke about quite openly at the time.
yeah. What it was all over the papers and everything, Mark. And German man coming to Alan Sugar's Jewish club and stuff like that was all over the papers back then. I remember that. Jesus,
And
you
nowadays,
know,
I mean, nowadays they wouldn't even dream of printing anything like that in the newspaper. It
unless
really,
unless it's unless it's on Sport TV.
unless it's in Scotland, I suppose, right enough. But
Could you imagine though that if Rangers signed an Irish soccer player?
well, they've signed a couple of them now.
They have a goalkeeper in their ranks.
I mean, go back to the reaction when they signed Mo Johnson.
Mhm.
And the way, I mean, there's clips here on YouTube and that, honestly, and see if the guys that are doing it are still alive, man, they must see it and cringe at some of the shite they're storing there talking to. I mean, they're on Scotland today at 6 o'clock talking about how Rangers is this club that, oh my God, honestly, cringe. It's totally one of the most cringiest things you'll ever see, Paul. I'll dig it out and send you a link to it, honestly.
Is that the one
Really-
there in the pub, Martin Lockall?
Aye.
Ah, I've seen that. It's
but
terrible
it's
that was even on
really
it.
I know, on the
it's
6 o'clock news and they're sitting talking like that.
That's insane, that Catholic man. It's bad. I hope it's a dream, not, and I wake up and it's no happening. Things like that. It's terrible, man.
I'll no begin back that. I'll no begin back near Ibrox and I'll begin my season ticket back and that. Oof.
It's one of his own. So I'm a loyalist, not I've been my season, but yeah, I'm not beginning back, not it.
Jesus Christ, like, you know, the hatred like that's coming from that club and their fans is just it's sickening. Like you think like how multinational now every country in the world is, like, you know what I mean, and they still live by this fucking ancient history like of hatred, like, don't they? You know.
It's just stuck in the past, Paul, and they've got no intentions of joining the rest is in the modern world.
Mm, but John, just like before we close it, John, Mark said like that there might be players coming around 11 o'clock. If anyone's staying up till 11 o'clock and watch, I'll be staying up anyway because I don't sleep. So, uh, what areas, John, would you like to see him invest in Celtic, and where do we need to invest before this window closes? Because we are really still light as a squad.
Just a centre back. I'd like to see a centre back coming in. Kind of in the mould we were talking about earlier on, experienced team. It's going to come in, add a bit of, obviously, quality to the squad, but experience in that as well. And if everyone can get one, I'd like it to be a centre back, but in terms of kind of need a wee bit of dig in the midfield as well. Overall, looking at the rest of the squad, it's kind of, I'm happy with it, with the first 11 on the park. But we're a bit light to bring options off bench, but we never had Forrest in that there as well. McCarthy and that wasn't on the bench. And Sunday too, so that kind of depletes the options a bit too. But a centre back and a bit of digging midfield if we're going to be signing in.
What about the live chat? What would you like to see Celtic go for in the live chat? What areas do you think we need to sign in the live chat? If you can just let us know. Do you think the same as John and Mark here, that we need a centre back, maybe another midfielder? But Mark, do we actually really need another midfielder, considering we have Zorro, Shaw, we have McCarthy now? When McCarthy comes fit, we're expecting him to slot in there. We now have Turnbull, we have McGregor in there. Like, do we actually need another centre back, Mark? I'm sorry, centre midfielder there, or in around the midfield area?
Well, I think honestly, Paul, I think it comes down to whether Ange trusts Sorrow to get step in there. I mean, because it's like, as we said, McGregor sitting there.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
It's like what you said, Mark. He's not that player that can tackle or do the job that needs to be done in that area. He's not that type of player. But
as I said, I mean, imagine we did have a midfield trio: Gregor, McCarthy, and say just Lewis Ferguson. That puts a whole different shine on things. You know what I mean? You've got three good players there, and two of them are kind of hard as nails and got a bit of swagger about them and don't mind mixing it up. Do you know what I mean? It's just that would be just completely night and day. So unless Ange trusts Sorrow to come in and do that kind of be that player, I would still like to see somebody.
Is Ange actually maybe buying his time, Mark, here, and maybe having Shaw more regularly on the bench now in the last couple of days? Shaw's been on the bench regularly. That are we going to see maybe Shaw go into that role, and that's why Shaw was actually bought, is to fill that role? And that's why we're not going in for.
Shaw could. That was Shaw's. Shaw's as you again. You're kind of.
You know, but you say, yeah.
On him is, but I don't see why. If it is Shaw, then fair dues, or if it's Sorrow, but it's definitely something that we need to address, whether it's from within or bringing somebody in.
The other one, Mark, is another one that's been popping up all the time, and it kind of always popped up with Mickey anytime he was on the pod with us. And the thing is, but I think we're first to say now, Mark, maybe it might happen at the last minute, but if it was happening, Mark, we would have kind of heard rumours about it, but Loveridge doesn't look like it's happening either.
It's just totally dead, isn't it? Any gossip, rumours or anything, it just seems to have went totally dead. So it's like you said, Paul, you'd have heard. I mean, even nowadays, the journalists are on Twitter. The stuff the journalists are telling you, that's what they're being told. I don't. So there's no mystery.
But they have contacts, Mark, all around.
Oh, aye.
The journalists will have contacts around nearly every league, no, Mark, don't they? Do you know what I mean?
See, to watch out for. See if journalists are putting it out themselves, that's probably some truth to it. But see if it's coming out like through Sky Sports or the Daily Record are printing it, but do you get what I mean? That's when you know there's maybe it's true. But I mean, these guys are on there, they're only even in the forum, Paul. I'll just pass on things that I hear and what I know. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Do you know?
But that's gossip, Mark. That's what it is. Like you're reporting what's there, but
things can drop of a hat.
We didn't kind of. I think the concern thing about Loveridge, Mark, is that we didn't kind of hear nothing about it for the last couple of weeks.
That's exactly it. There's nothing, nobody on Twitter, nothing.
And especially now that we seem to be signing this young lad, Yasha from Benfica. So I think, Mark, that's
I'm
That's the Lovitch deal. No, and that puzzles me because here we are bringing in a young lad, right? When and we spoke about Terence on Sunday, Mac, when we have Moffat down the Codes League and who actually impressed John pre-season as well, Mark. Like in and around the same age as this lad coming in. Why not invest in that area, Mark? Sign Lovitch and then promote Moffat then underneath him to lawn off Lovitch. You know,
I'm not 100% convinced of this, you are, Paul, to be honest.
you know,
Uh,
because Mark, like
Lightweight in that as well, didn't he? And
the Portuguese, Mark. Anyway, their league anyway is lightweight. I mean, it's not physical like this. And I know Scottish football now, Mark, has come more physical, no, more skillful. Sorry, but it's still a physical league, Mark. Do you know what I mean?
definitely. And he's only a young lad. For me, I mean, for me again, Paul, he's the project player. We should be signing him to be like,
He shouldn't be a loan, Mark. Yeah, exactly. Should be a loan signing. Yeah.
we should be signing a player like that Lovrich or somebody like that, and that's my first choice. And see if this guy still wants to come to his own loan, that's fair dues, but you're the project son, you're the backup to our main man. You can't bring in an 18, 19-year-old kid and say,
No, that's going back to what you were saying, Mark. That when we signed Craig Bellamy on loan and we signed Robbie Keane on loan, these were loan signings that were better than what we had.
aye. I mean,
Do you know what I mean?
even down to, I mean, let's face it, even down to Shane Duffy. We were not
Better than what we had. Yeah, exactly.
excited to sign Shane Duffy. I try saying that, man, for your teeth in.
Look, Mark, you're looking at Duffy now, right? And like he's back now in the Brighton team. He seems to be
Played
doing well, Mark. Played well, and now he was missing at the weekend's game because he picked up a knock during training. But when I looked at the Brighton's defence, Mark, they were shocking. Without Duffy in their defence, they were shocking.
But
You know, and
I was saying at the time, Paul, it was. We're talking about signed loan players that you're going to improve your team. And at the time, we thought Duffy would. I'm not so sure.
yeah, but considering, Mark, no, considering though how we were talking about Lennon probably didn't even tell the players what they're to do, Mark, and stuff like that. And defence were a shambles. No wonder Duffy fucking failed as well, Mark. You know what I mean? Last
Think
season.
it was just the wrong season for Duffy. He's supposed
I
to be
think so.
fine down at Brighton now.
I think so.
Just a terrible
I
season,
think
a horror season.
Duffy wanted to come up and play with the Celtic fans. That was his dream because he went there with his father. And I think in around his father dying as well, John, around that time as well.
Well,
That hit Duffy a lot, like, and he just couldn't hack the abuse then that he was getting. It all just, I think too many things came out onto him at once, Mark, didn't they?
aye.
His old man had just passed as well, hadn't he? A few months before.
Yeah,
That's no something you just shrug off after a month
Plus
or two, is
he's-
it? It's-
Definitely.
he's young lad then getting sick then in pre-season in Dubai. He's young lad getting sick, and just everything just seemed to happen at the wrong season for him. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's saying there's just it was just the wrong time.
It was, Mark, wasn't it?
Times the stars align and all that, like we've said with Barkas, it just doesn't work out for
Yeah, Mark is going to do like
outside anybody's control.
exactly, and plus, Mark, the Celtic fans would have taken to Duffy straight away. The fact is that he supported Celtic all his life. If Duffy had the Celtic fans behind him, Mark, for the first couple of games and get into him, I think Duffy would have been all right last season. And even if he had a proper manager,
But
Duffy could have been all right.
well, Paul,
Yeah,
got a few goals in that when he first came in, didn't he?
Man of the match, I think, his first game. He
scored
scored for it
against
as well.
against St Mirren one day. He got the header.
I think it was County, I think.
Was it? I thought he scored against Darkies as well. But I mean, he started off no bad, then it just kind of went downhill for him.
Mm.
I'm sorry for the guy, to be honest. I really
I did, Mark, of all the players, Mark, last season, like who failed and who now left the club, like Duffy was the only one who I actually fell for. Do you know what I mean? Because of the fact that he was
he's one of them.
so and he pushed for this chance for himself, Mark, just to play with Celtic, didn't he?
You want? I mean, he's one of your own. You like to see Celtic fans coming in and playing for Celtic and doing well. Do you know what I mean? People people say, we always seem to sign Irish or Celtic fans and that's all right as long as they're good players. And Duffy was and still is a good player. It just didn't work out for him.
Sean Ross there is asking on the live chat, any news in Yasha. So I think what we're hearing, Mark, is that there's a medical being done in Portugal, and the paperwork is being done between Celtic and Benfica, but he's having his medical and things. So if the deal is done, that he'll come over then and just finish off like the rest of the medical in Glasgow, Mark, like basic things, fitness wise and stuff like that on the and stuff like. But
I mean,
at the moment, there seems no concrete offer there.
they need to get visas and permits in that to come in the
Yeah.
country.
But I think was it.
I hope that's going to be. You know what I mean? If the transfer window shuts and all this paperwork doesn't get through in time, I hope that's not going to go against clubs that are
Right, it's coming up there now, lads. It's just coming up. Celtic are closing in on the signing of Yata on an on-loan deal with an option to buy. Signing will be done in the next hour or two. So there's the details of that, Max. So they're actually, as we're speaking, they're in progress, Mac, to get that done.
But
You know,
when's he going to be allowed in the country? I mean, Gio Kamakis.
he'll have to isolate.
Do you know what I mean? But as I say, these players again with Brexit, they need to wait for work permits, visas to get into the country.
Visas.
So,
And what's your rules now, Mark, with isolation? Like, do any of you lads know in the live chat? Like, will these new signings have to isolate? But Mark, I can't understand this, right? Right, that if the players we signed today, right, have to isolate when they come into the country, but then why are the Scottish football team going around the Euros playing, and all national teams going around Europe, but they don't have to isolate during the Euros? It's the exact same principle, Mark.
Paul, honestly, I've not got a clue what the rules are in Scotland.
You know,
They seem to change by hour, if you listen to some folk, because nobody can actually tell you a kind of definitive answer to like the questions you're asking, which the
you know,
kind of the track and trace stuff.
see, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you know what I mean? That,
And the kid
like,
the rise are here, Paul. I think
yeah,
we're number. I think Verasti's number 1 or 2 in
that's what I can't understand, Mark. Is like that, like
organisation list now.
all these international teams are traveling around Europe. Like, sure, it'd be God, Mark. Like, these international games are things that could have been put off, you know what I mean, to the later date. Like, I mean, like, until actually all football players are vaccinated. Do you know what I mean? You know, because there's a lot of football players there, Mark, like all young lads there now in Scotland, we say like Abby Darwin, Mickey Johnson, or thing like they wouldn't be vaccinated yet, Mark, if you're going by the group things, like, you know what I mean? You know?
No, and I was surprised as well to read when it was about the Rangers players and that. There was a lot of talk that some of the players have they had their vaccinations.
Yeah,
I say we spoke about this months ago. I'm sure, Paul, and one if
we did. And then they are, Mark, going out with international football teams. Yeah.
surely clubs like the size of Celtic, Rangers, and that can fight to get these vaccinations.
Well,
They should have been
we
some of the first ones done.
we can pay.
We're still mixing with other people. Do you know what I mean?
Rangers will ask their fans to give up their vaccines so the players can get vaccinated.
That was what our last year issue was for.
To get the players vaccinated. Jesus Christ. You know, but like so, Mark, I think they're the two deals that are banking that they're going to be done is the Greek Giamakis and Yata. But anything after that really is a mystery. I mean, there was talk about Tottenham, but kind of that fell through now. But John, have you heard anything yourself, maybe off your buddies? Have you heard any rumours circling around, or Celtic are looking at this or looking at that?
No, just one I was at Cameron Carter Vickers, and I kind of seen a link and I clicked on there. Kind of something saying that maybe looking at, but I just don't know if that's clickbait. But speaking to my cousin Ellen, he was just saying something about that as well. But I think it's just off Twitter feeds.
Yeah, is it Harrison Ashby's name? I put it on the forum earlier, a young boy from West Ham.
I think somebody put on Shane Long as well, didn't they? And another, I can't remember his name.
St Mirren. I thought that was that Daft Hoops 88 coming back with one of his daft spins. The rumours page. The boy McDuffie St Mirren, isn't it? I am sure it's Ashby Harrison or Harrison Ashby or something. It was Rich. It was Rich T that asked me about it earlier on.
So, Mark, that's go back to what you're saying. Then is that David Moyes now will probably get his bit and he look at his squad because they'll have to register their squad now as well, Mark, for the season going ahead after the transfer window closes. They can update their, like, I know they had their squad list already transferred for the season, but that can change now with the transfers coming in. So it's like what you said, Mark. We could approach West Ham then at 11 o'clock. Go, right, look, we'll take this fella here. Do you know what I mean?
Like,
I think that's when Celtic will feed off kind of what's there.
this club could buy that player, which means that this other player they've got's available to come to Celtic. It's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
See, especially these last few years of transfer window, Paul, it's hectic. It's hectic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, agents and people like that, they're all on phones all over the place. They're all trying to get players moves, trying to finalise deals.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Mark, the best thing too, like, is that like
Just don't sit and watch Sky Sports all night, lads.
These are best. Like these players that are there, Mark. They're not necessarily bad players. They're just that little bit unexperienced that they could do a job for Celtic. Do you know what I mean? They're not Celtic and just feeding off scraps, are they?
No, it's just players that are surplus to requirements. You like, no, I mean, like that player, he would have been in our first team squad, but we're saying this guy, he's not going to win it this season. He needs a year away in loan. Do you get what I mean? Things like that.
Do you think there's anyone else going? Do you think maybe I think the strangest one today for me was Leo O'Connor leaving. Mark, I think that was the. That was because I was actually hoping for him this season, and another one, Mark, is.
Well, Paul, what we're talking about, this club buys that player, and that means this player becomes available.
Exactly, that's what happened.
That's
what happened with Leo O'Connor here, Mark. Yeah, that's true what you said, Mark. That's the domino effect.
Things fall into place, and it frees up players to move on and things like that.
Mm-hmm. What about yourselves, lads, in the live chat? Have you heard anything different to what we're talking about, or have you heard any rumours talking about? I know at Glasgow Green is always topping up the phone with a few gossip and stuff there. So if you hear anything, just let us know and we'll shout it out. But I remember when we signed Robbie Keane, Mark, and like we signed him. That was the January transfer window, wasn't it? We signed him. And he actually was top scorer in Scotland that year, and he only signed for us in January. Like he was some player these days, Mark. Wasn't he? Robbie Keane, in fairness to him, like, you know what I mean?
Brilliant player, Paul. He really was. Not just because he was. He used to play one Celtic support and things like that. But I thought Robbie Keane was a great player. You don't play for Inter Milan when you're 17-year-old.
Yeah. And I think,
was that the age he was when he went to him,
yeah, 17, yeah.
He's only a young boy, John.
Was it Wolves, Mark? He was with
Wolves, Inter Milan.
You know, some like
that's totally off topic and things like that. And I know you're in a hurry to get away, Paul. It was like, see, I was talking to somebody on the forum the other day, and they were getting that Celtic would never last in the Premier League and things like that.
Oh.
Right away, we'd be able to sign players like Robbie Keane and Roy Keane. Do you get what I mean? They'd be signing for us because of the money that we'd be able to pay. I've said it before. Celtic and Rangers, to be fair, would be totally mint it in that English league. Get a year or two and it'd be.
We won't be selling the likes of Edward. We won't be selling the likes of Oyo, Mark. Do you know what I mean? They'd be staying at Celtic.
We wouldn't have sent.
Tierney when I went to Arsenal either, wouldn't it? He'd have stayed at us.
Tierney wouldn't have needed to sell Dembele. I mean, even down to right, like no, we all call him the rat and things like that. But Brendan Rodgers would have stayed at. Well, to get what I mean, the money there to buy the players at this kind of level that we've never even thought of. And I've said it for years. Celtic and, as I said, fair play to Rangers, they'd be exact same as they'd be like at the top end of that league. But see, for me, see within 4 or 5 years, Celtic would be challenging to win that Premier League. We would be one of the biggest clubs in the world if we joined that Premier League and get that kind of money and that they're getting.
That's how they wouldn't let us in it. That's definitely because they're scared. Certain Rangers would take care of that. See where a rivalry big it is, and biggest derbies in the world, and we would take right in it. But about us, could you imagine Celtic Rangers doing in a title battle? It's just
Christie's a done deal.
Is that a done deal?
It's a done deal. Yeah, it's came off there. Yeah, Christie's is a done deal. But Mark, we're still that left hand wing, like so, Mark, really hasn't been sorted over this transfer window.
No,
You know, that's one. Like considering.
That's what I was saying earlier. Is he going to persist with Kyogo out in the left wing?
And that's the problem because
Let me finish the new. But is that going to make with Giamakis coming in?
Yeah.
Is that going to get? Is that going to suit the system better? So Kyogo will be better out in the left.
Maybe, yeah. That's.
We're only basing Kyogo playing out in the left on that one.
Because Edward. Yeah.
He was using Forrest out there as well, wasn't he? For I know.
And maybe Mark, this fella, like, I haven't seen much of him, to be honest, Mark, the new Greek lad, and I can't make judgment on him, but I don't know he scores goals, but he does look, he does look like a forward, Mark, who's able to run and move around, like, so maybe Ange thinks, Mark, that he's suit his system because he'll move around and he'll be able to interchange as well with Kyogo and Abada as well, like what we've seen at the start of the season, yeah.
But
because
I think there must be something in Angie's planning and why we've not pursued a like Lovrich or somebody like that. And why it's only this young Portuguese guy that's coming for that position.
It's not often you see a manager come out and say, I got the formation wrong at the start that Edward should have played at the start of that game. Do you know what I mean? So clearly we had no option to play Edward because we didn't have the players there to do it. And that's why we had to play Edward up, but for the manager actually to see that one player slows down your system. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what Edward did, Mark. He slowed us down, and I saw it on Twitter last night. It's like,
let it go, man. He's away.
So that's like saying that hopefully that's what I'm saying, like that. The Greek lads.
At least you'll not be moaning about him in the next one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but the Greek lad, no, Mark, will hopefully be a player that Ange knows that will fit his system, that we still have this a fast attack on up front. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like you said, Ange knows it. He's he doesn't know him, like he knows him of a player, and he knows that he'll be able to fit his system because this is an Ange signing, Mark, isn't this? You know?
And definitely, Paul, even for the money that you're spending on him, I'm not saying Ange is putting all his eggs in one basket with him, but Ange could probably have got more money out of the board to sign a striker than what we're paying for him.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, he could have said, look, we're losing Edward, we're going to get plenty of money for him, but I need £5 million, I've got my own such and such a player. But it seems to be Ange's picked this guy, no kind of bothered his backside of what price he's going to, do you know what I mean? It's not as if it needs to be a multi-million pound player to come in, it needs to be a big high profile name to come in. It seems as if he just said,
like 2.5 million, Mark, is a good bit of business. Like, yeah.
This is a guy I want. He'll do me a job. I know I can get the best out of him, and he'll fit right into the system I want to play. It's not. Don't care if it costs you 20 quid. Or, do you know what I mean? That's the kind of.
But Mark, that's what we're. I think, Mark, that's going back to what we were saying since we started doing this podcast. Like, there was never a problem with Celtic spending money. It's how we spent this.
We didn't
at least now,
wisely.
Yeah. At least now, hopefully, we have a manager, Mark, who clearly he's buying players, Mark, that fit his system because he's identifying these players. Like, so, I'm hopeful, Mark, and I hope to God that the Greek lad is what Celtic need at the moment, because we were getting no value for what it's worth of Edward being in there. He was clearly didn't want to be here, but now we have we actually have a brand new strike force, which is good. Like,
Paul, basically, a new team when you think about it.
Yeah, 55 million. If everything goes today, Mark, is what the club would have taken in transfers since January.
You can't fault that.
No, but it's good. Like, it's good business. Like considering, Mark, like you have Christie, you had Edward, like they were down there like to get 8.5 million for free frog mark was unbelievable back then. Like, do you know what I mean?
I've
In
not
fairness, like
I've not even kept any track on him. Does anybody know how Frimpong's playing or getting on in Germany?
no, but that's like
I don't really
that was
care to be honest. You know,
no, but that's what I'm saying, Mark. Like for us to get that money, like and as you said it, Mark, I think it's going to be a matter of time when we're going to see a player leave for Celtic for about the 30 million mark, because we've been saying like, could I imagine a player like Tierney leaving for 20 million for Celtic? No, I couldn't. But now we're seeing it, like, so there seems to be more and more income, and that's due to the structure that we have, Mark. I mean, like, we have to sell players, unfortunately, but we're gradually seeing that we're getting good value for players, John.
It seems to be going up and up every season. But also with Edward, I think we could have been demanding at least a 30 million mark on this season. If obviously his contract was in the last year, and it wasn't for that bad season we had last year. But it's just right. We've got to structure the club and how we're improving players and selling them on. I think a lot of clubs know they can come to us and get a good player, but in time it's just going to keep going up. We're going to be demanding more money because obviously the fees are going to start going up everywhere with inflation. So it's time we started putting our prices up.
and you've
I
got.
still kind of.
Oh no,
On you go, mate.
no, John, on you go. Sorry.
I kind of obviously 15 million is good for Edward, but I kind of think we should try and push for a wee bit more in terms of it as a player, because it's just obviously, when he goes down there, he's going to be the way he was when he just came to us. I think he's going to do well down there, and he's going to get a move within a season or two.
He'll score goals for
that type of player.
Because, like, what did Michael say about Ben Desmond, Mark? That he scores one goal a season or something like that, 2-3 goals a season. And what's he on, 160,000?
110 or 120,000 pound a week. He was on that Benteke.
Jesus, man.
He wasn't scoring all right, you know.
And I watched him the other day, like in the match today, like, and I was looking to myself like, Palace are crying out for a player like Edward. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
think
that Benteke on the day, so he did.
that striker, Mark, that Davis striker has it has died out of football, hasn't it? The big, tall target man. It has really died out, and that's why Benteke is struggling, Mark, because no team plays like that anymore, do they?
No.
You know, and even
it's just kind of outdated, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But just
when
you're just to get back here, when I John, when we're talking about like the money we've got coming in, I mean, you look at teams like Ajax, and is it Sporting Lisbon that have made like over £1 billion in transfers over the last 10 years or something like that.
Right? Year on year, Mark, they do it, yeah.
But I mean, Ajax will sell a player for like 50 million pounds, and but they'll not go out and spend that. Very rarely Ajax will go out and spend any serious money on players. I think that's the kind of thing. I mean, people are going, oh, we've brought in this much in transfers, so we should be spending all that on transfers.
Well, see, Mark, that's the difference. That's going back to what we were saying, yeah.
But straight, get the money in, but use that money to build the infrastructure.
Yeah, that's it, Mark, because
Ajax will replace that, sell somebody for 20, 30, 40 million pound, and they'll replace them with a youngster, or they'll get doing what you're saying, Paul. They'll pluck the best youngster in the league to cover that position. They'll bring him in, and then the next year he's worth it to get in. That's the way that.
See, that's the problem, Mark. The way Celtic fans are, like, if we sell Edward now for 15 million, Celtic fans want us to spend that. But if
10 million,
but if we promoted some then from the youths, Mark, they're cribbing then, and then they're cribbing then why there's no youths involved then either. You know, like, I think the next upcoming striker, Mark, going by what JFP was saying about, is the lad Vesa seems to be a nice little handy little player to have down the Colts League.
I see he get called up to the Ireland squad as well the other day.
Yeah, he did. Under 18s he did. Yeah. And he's supposed to be a handy little player, Mark. I mean, so there was, I said, Mark, that we didn't have a striker on and things. Well, they have him now, and Celtic need to be looking after him, Mark, make sure he progresses to come the striker we want, because it was really unthinkable, Mark, up until Vesa, we didn't have any striker coming up.
No,
you know?
Well, it was you that brought that to my attention as well, Paul. But again, I said earlier on, Paul, we're only 8 weeks or something into this kind of rebuild of the club. Frank said earlier in his interviews, once this window shuts, he'll start looking at everything else. Him and McCall's
Mhm.
everything else in that. And even then, I think we'll even see more progress over the next between now and Christmas on the stuff behind the scenes and things like that.
Especially too with what Gordon Strachan maybe recommends, Mark, what he kind of sees there. What has he actually started that role? Do we know, or
I don't know. Did, was the SFA looking into whether
they were looking? Yeah, they were looking into it. But,
I've not heard anything else since.
but right, say though, right, that these are our two signings today, right? That's coming in. We're not doing no more business, Mark. Do you think then we're actually going to see more of our young lads? I don't think we kind of have any choice really, Mark. But maybe it could be a good thing, Mark. We'd start to see more younger lads coming onto the bench at Celtic.
I've always harped about that, Paul. That's always going to be a good thing for me.
Mhm.
But it's got
Mhm.
time. I mean, there's a time and a place for young players to get their chances. I still even really bring in Jacko and Jota, Paul. That still leaves a bench like
See, that's the frightening, Mark, isn't it? Because
it's still
fair enough, there. Like,
right. We've said McCarthy still to come into the team, James Forrest to come back. So I mean, that's two experienced players. But even at that, it's still not much.
there's no game changer, Mark, for me, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? Like it's like looking at the bench there the other day, Mark. Like Rogic isn't the type of player, Mark, that you need coming off in if you want to speed up a game. I mean, like he is because he's fit now. He looks fitter, but
But he
there's still questions. Yeah,
a
there's
shuffle.
still
Yeah, we've seen him do it, and
yeah.
that was one of the things that he's always been good at. He just didn't do it long enough. A wee shuffle, and the next time he was away and scored a goal.
He can open a defence, can't he? He just can smash
The
it right
big
open.
question now, Mark, though, about Rogic is to see how he comes back after this international break. I think that's going to be the biggest thing about Rogic now is
For me,
if he comes back from this international break injured, Mark, he should retire from international duty without doubt.
I said that. I thought
Yeah,
he refused, not refused, but turned down the chance to go and train. And I thought that was probably in his mind to like retire for it. But I think I'll just say after looking at the Midtjylland game and the derby the other day, one thing I will say is that eh, Rogic and Turnbull can't play in the same midfield.
Mark, who's this fella? Shoot hum for pass back. He's saying Yasha deals off. Is that just someone coming into our live chat? Is there what? On the live chat,
Oh,
the second last post.
I don't know who he is. Who are you, mate?
Dragging on a wee bit, but innit? It's that Greek boy's been announced. There's something. The tour been kind of odd dates been meant to be done.
I mean, maybe they need to wait on this kind of international clearance work permit stuff and that to come through, John. I don't know.
Aye, get a lot date on it. The good
Because
thing about that is,
it's a bit concerning, Mark, if that deal is off, because that really leaves us very light on that left-hand side, don't it? You know, but light anyways it is, and I really wasn't convinced of the Yota deal anyway, Mark. But if it's not going through, it is a bit concerning because we really don't have an out-and-out left winger in the club.
I definitely have a flight with it there, Paul. It's just something to get on the line. This Jota, it's been dragging on a wee bit.
But then we saw Bunkum Meakin came on, Mark, and he played the other day. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to figure out what Ange can do. Like, if he doesn't get these through, Mark, we have Forrest. But then again, Mark, how fit is actually James Forrest this year after that big injury last season? He doesn't seem to be the same player, does he? After this injury last season, does he?
I can't even see anyone on Twitter about your deal being off, Paul.
You know, I think that you think we just delete him, will we?
I seen reports right enough saying that we've got a sell-on deal for Jack Henry. With a sell clause on the Jack Henry deal.
How much was that then, Mark?
There's no saying how much.
You know, I think
Twitter for that.
out of all the
That's a journalist guy that's reporting it right enough.
not just Celtic lads or thing now and what was the big transfer across England and Europe in this transfer deal? What was the one that surprised you?
Ronaldo in it. It's got to be Ronaldo in it.
Ronaldo to Man United.
That was the best one, wasn't it? And I think that was what I heard was that he was actually on his way to Man City. His agents were talking to him, and it was Ferguson that got involved.
He was on his way to Fairhill, Paul. I had him ready. I was signing him from Celtic.
Yeah.
I phoned him just as he turned the corner at Milan.
Definitely has Ferguson all over it, though, Mark, don't it?
It was Ferguson that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? The respect Ronaldo's got for Ferguson.
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
he was a father figure, and even he wouldn't be the man or player or anything that he was today if it wasn't for Alex Ferguson.
You know,
Alex Ferguson that talked him into taking a number 7 jersey.
it's kind of going to be a big blow to Cavani if Ronaldo takes this number 7 shot, because CR7 is Ronaldo's trademark. Like, you can't see him take another jersey, Mark, can you?
It's
Do you know what I mean?
his brand, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
what he's kind of known as.
Mm.
Even in the Celtic, if any play FIFA, even FIFA.
It's after coming up there now, and Celtic are still in contact negotiations with. So that deal is still on, lads, with Yossa. So I don't know. That was just a be freaky Huns, I say, coming on the live chat because they're jealous because Rangers have no money and they're shitting themselves because they can't buy nothing.
We spent a penny to put off free transfers in it.
But Mark, it just shows it, Mark, how.
The OG, if you've watched that OG yet, that I'm the same face Huddersfield, something junior.
Yeah.
He scored a 40-year OG.
Jesus.
You need to look on YouTube. It doesn't mean he's a bad player. It was just a pure freak, a funny goal kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I heard that the biggest fee that they were offered for this was €5 million. There was add-ons in that on it as well, but that was like that was basically the top bid that went in for Morelos.
Mark, I just think it shows too with their lack of movement in the transfer window this season. Like, it's all been free transfers and stuff like that. How much of a financial trouble they actually are at the moment.
No, but to be fair, Paul, right? I mean, I know they spin the story that they paid $7 million for Ryan Kent. I don't believe that for a minute. But Paul, they still scrimped and scraped and bust the bank, bust every wallet of their fans, but they still won the league.
Exactly.
Millions on a team last year. As I've said before, I don't know any Celtic player, any Celtic fan that wasn't happy this time last year when the transfer window closed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But they blame the other wee free transfers and all that. They still won the league for whatever reason. They still done it. But there's at some point the pot's just kind of got to run dry. They're just asking. They're
asking for trouble.
No, they're asking.
Aren't they?
No, there is clubs out there willing to give them money for their players, but they're just
what they want, yeah.
overvaluing their players by so much that there's not even leaving room for negotiation, Paul. Right, if you're offering £5 million for a player and the club turns around and says, no, we want £15 million for him. There's not even any room. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
You're halfway, yeah, exactly. Like no middle ground, like yeah.
Usually you can drag their price down, put in some add-ons and get the deal done, but there's just that much a difference in the valuations that clubs.
But that could go against them as well, like it went for us last season. Like, you know what I mean? Players could be like some Morales and Kent, like could get fed up like that. They're not getting their moves away either. Like, do you know what I mean?
Puts the big guys. Is it Barisic? You pronounce it Barisic?
Yeah.
Did you know kind of have a wee goodbye moment with him at the end of the game on Sunday?
Yeah, it was kind of taking a piece of the grass and everything, weren't they? And
it was a wee kind of farewell, cheerio, and again he's still there. I mean, they were saying Roma were interested in him, and did these players believe this?
Exactly, Mark. Yeah.
They're trying to drum up interest. They've been trying it for years with Morelos, right? They've been trying it with that Kamara and things like that. Right, so see if these players, the club's setting these stories up in the press, see if the players are reading that and believing that, they've got to be saying, well, hold that, I'm interested in going here. Do you get what I mean? I want to talk to Roma, I want to talk to Juventus or whatever, and it's just spin, 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 and it causes problems. Because I could go to Juventus or Roma or who was it, Morelos, Sporting Lisbon or whatever, and get X amount of money. If you just want £15 million for me, you give me you give me the wages of a £15 million player.
Exactly.
'Cause that's another thing. Celtic can't do that. If Celtic could pay the wages of a £25 million player, probably cared, and they would still be here.
That's it, Mark. That's what it comes down to. Like it's the wage limit, Mark. Really, that's killing Celtic. The structure that look, we just can't afford, Mark, to be paying 50, 60, 80 grand. It's not financially thing to Celtic.
I've said it 100 times as well, Paul. The transfer fees for players don't bother me. When we look back, we spoke about guys like
Mhm.
Larson and then all these big name players that flopped and things like that. I'd like to see us put our wage bracket up a wee bit, and that would probably
Yes, exactly.
better players.
Yeah, yeah.
Jack
Even
Tierney
if
this time, Mark, if he doubled his wages, gave him a better kind of
Mm,
money.
I
I
don't.
think he would just want to try and move to a kind of better, obviously bigger league and just kind of improve himself as a player.
Him and Neil Lennon, I don't think that went down well when Lennon got appointed boss. Because when Lennon was boss, if I spoke about it, KT and McGregor wouldn't have been near the Celtic team if Lennon hadn't left
Aye.
when he did. So I don't know whether that's maybe a wee bit of say in what Tierney's thinking or
Cal McGregor wouldn't either, Mark. James Forrest probably wouldn't have. Yeah,
say.
yeah.
So I don't know if that maybe came into it, but maybe if you kind of doubled his wages and said why he stay for a year and try and give 10 in a row, maybe we would have swayed him a wee bit. But as I
Mhm.
said earlier, if he were playing the Premier League, Paul, getting that kind of money, we'd get KT for his full career.
100%.
You know what I mean? No
Aye.
matter whether Real Madrid or, do you get what I mean? Unless it would, maybe somebody like Real Madrid, do you get what I mean? Somebody at that kind of level, life-changing total option to go play for another one of the best clubs in the world. But he wouldn't have kind of moved to Arsenal for Celtic or that if he'd been in the Premier League.
Mhm. That's it, lads. Thanks to John at short notice again for joining us tonight.
Much option when you just phoned him, like doorstepped him.
That's true. That's true. But hopefully, lads, I think we're celebrating with a few signings tonight. Celtic need to step it up and get a few more players into the squad. Mark, if you want to close the show.
Well, right, just thanks very much, Paul, for everything you do. Thanks for joining us again, John. All the lads on the live chat. Just remember, if you know, please subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment if you know how. And if you want to come out of the forum, most days will be on there all night, talking away, seeing what's happening as things progress through the night. Thanks again, lads. Hail, hail, and God bless.